Welcome into the week up edition of Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. We have turned back the clock. We have turned forward the calendar. We've turned out of one season and into another. I'm Maurice Patton. That's Wade Neely. We'll get you caught up on everything that's going on in the world of sports, locally, regionally, and nationally over the next couple of hours. I'm here in the studio in Columbia. Been a while. Had to dust off some cobwebs, that kind of thing. But needed to be down here, so came on in. This is where I'm hanging out. Wade, how's your Monday so far?
Monday's good, Mo. Good to be with you. Good to see everybody today. We got a big show. Pumped for it. Like you said, a lot in transition, but a lot to wrap up over the next couple hours here. Pretty excited to be with everybody today.
Absolutely. In the next hour, in the second hour, we will be visiting with KIMMEL from Penalty Box Radio, talking a little. They picked up a win over the weekend, looking for another one tonight. So I'm looking forward to talking to Ann. And a big deal Saturday at Bridgestone. We'll get into that with Ann as well when we get her on during the second hour. In the next segment, we'll be joined by our teammate from Main Street Media, Joe Sullivan. Again, college basketball starts up today, has already started in some places, actually. But we will be checking in with Joe to talk a little local hoops. We got couple of games here locally tonight. A lot of our area teams in action. So looking forward to checking in with Joe on who's where and what's what on the hardwood here in the next segment. We'll be talking a little soccer. We'll get into some baseball that's finally done. I guess we'll talk some football, both pro and college, but it was a tough weekend locally. So we'll get into a little bit of that. Some pro hoops, some stock car racing. As Wade said, plenty to get into. Plenty went on this weekend, plenty coming up this week. So big show. Should be fun.
Yeah, you said it, Mo. Big show. It's a lot of stuff to kind of traverse over the next little bit with some of our trusty friends and colleagues. Should be fun.
Absolutely. Two of our friends of the show joining us here on this Monday. Looking forward to that. That's what it's going to look like here for the next couple of hours. I guess we may as well go ahead and swing into it, Wade, with with this weekend's results, and today's schedule on the rundown.
This is the rundown.
Rundown time, boys and girls, and each and every single Monday, our rundown is brought to you by our friends at Zion Christian Academy. ZCA offers a faith-based, Christ-centered education right here in Murray County. So give them a call today. That number is 931-388-5831, or you can visit them at zioneagles.org and schedule an appointment today. Once again, Zion Christian Academy, where they are prepared for college and equipped for purpose.
Friday night football, really short slate because we had so many games on Thursday night, but we'll swing into it. Beach with a big win in the Battle of Shackle Island. The Buccaneers defeating Hendersonville 49-16. Whites Creek with a 34-6 win over Cumberland County. It was Donaldson Christian 45, Ezel Harding 15. Kenwood with a 48-17 win over Dixon County. Ensworth Downs Montgomery Bell Academy 28-7. Fayetteville with a 20-7 win over Eagleville. Franklin all over Cordova, 35-0, closing out the season for the Admirals there. Franklin Christian defeats Scotts Hill 49-22. Giles County wins the Region 4-3A championship with a 41-38 win against visiting Sequatchie County down at the Brickyard. Henry County wins a shootout, defeating Kirkwood 42-31. It was Brentwood Academy 30, Lipscomb Academy 22. McCauley gets past Christ Presbyterian Academy 34-13. Providence Christian 30. Middle Tennessee Christian 13. Nashville Christian with a D2A region championship win, defeating Friendship Christian 35-21. Providence Academy defeated Zion Christian 42-7. Innovation Academy picking up a win, defeating Red Boiling Springs 19-16. Station Camp 41, Portland 21. Columbia Central wins its region, the Region 4-5A championship, defeating host Tullahoma 28-20. Coverage at mainstreetmurray.com. Forest 35, Watertown 28, and finally it was White House Heritage 13, Westmoreland 7.
Other scores from Friday, we got a couple of soccer championships to tell you guys about. Liberty Creek defeating Tullahoma 1-0 for one of them. Westview stunning Merrill High 2-0 for that second championship there. Girls soccer wrapping up last weekend. NBA action from Friday. The Cup opener was not kind to the Memphis Grizzlies. They fall to the Los Angeles Lakers 117-112. Major League Baseball score from Friday night. The Dodgers staved off elimination. More on that in just a matter of seconds, folks. 3-1 was your final Friday night. College football on Saturday. Vanderbilt with the sneakiest backdoor cover in the history of backdoor covers. 34-31 was technically the final on Saturday. Not as close as that final score might indicate. Lindenwood defeating TSU at Nissan Stadium 35-13. Oklahoma versus Tennessee. It was OU winning that one 33-27. Southern Utah stunning Austin Peay on Saturday 33-17. NSC in a rain-soaked Saturday night affair at Geodis Park defeats Inter Miami, staving off elimination in their own right. 2-1 was that final over in South Nashville. And in Major League Baseball action, Game 7 of the World Series goes in favor of the Dodgers, folks. Back-to-back championships for the boys in blue out west. 5-4 was that Saturday final. Again, Game 7 in favor of the Dodgers.
Sunday action. Let's go to Nissan Stadium, where it was the Los Angeles Chargers prevailed 27-20 over the host Titan. Again, I don't know if this was a cup game or not because I can't keep up with the NBA, but the Grizzlies dropped another one, falling at 117-104 without a key cog. We'll talk more about that later. Today's schedule, women's basketball. It was Middle Tennessee State visiting Tennessee State on Education Day at the Glass House. 59-53 was the final there. Vanderbilt and California are playing right now, and I think they're playing in Paris. You can see it on ESPNU. Don't have an update for you. We'll try to get you one. At 4:30 on the SEC, on SEC Plus, Belmont is at Oklahoma, and at 5 on ESPN Plus, it's the University of the South, Sewanee, at Austin Peay. Men's basketball today, Mercer is at UT. That's a 6 o'clock tip. You can see that one on SEC Plus at 6:30 on ESPN Plus. Air Force is at Belmont. I thought that was out there, but apparently not. Okay. Air Force is at the Curb taking on the Bruins in their season opener. At 7, Fisk is at TSU. That one's also at 7. Lipscomb is at Memorial Gym taking on the Commodores. That one's on SEC Plus. And at 7:30 on ESPN Plus, it's Bryan College coming in from Dayton taking on host Austin Peay.
We round things out on this Monday schedule, folks. The Pistons will be at the Grindhouse tonight, taking on the Memphis Grizzlies. 7 p.m. will be your tip-off time there. You can see that one on FanDuel Sports South. Monday Night Football, you can see it on ABC beginning at 7:15. Arizona at Dallas this evening. Once again, 7:15 on ABC for Monday Night Football action. And a puck drop tonight at Bridgestone Arena, set for 7:30. FanDuel Sports South will be your destination if you want to watch the Canucks, who come to the Nashville Predators once again. Vancouver at Nashville at 7:30 this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, that is your Monday schedule. Those were your weekend results, and that concludes today's rundown.
Your top story brought to you, as always, by the fine folks at Piggly Wiggly and Neely's Mill here in Columbia. Be sure to check out their delicious daily deli lunch options available from 11 a.m. until 6 p.m. Also, their hand-cut meats, and everything is cost plus 10% at the cash register. Piggly Wiggly, Neely's Mill, Columbia, bringing you our top story. And as we mentioned, the boys in gold staved off elimination on Saturday, picking up a 2-1 win over Inter Miami in MLS opening round playoff action. That series, that best-of-3 series, is tied at a game apiece. Game 3 will be Saturday in South Florida. And I don't know what that holds. I mean, I got a pretty good idea, unfortunately, but, you know, the fact that NSC was able to force it back to Miami is obviously a good thing.
Yeah, obviously a good thing, and you're right. Nashville will be stacked up against it, as they always are, and most teams are when you got to make that trip down there taking on Miami. NSC took care of business, didn't put the game away early, but got on the board early and then added another one to kind of really wrestle control. And that's really the recipe they had to seemingly deliver if they wanted to force this thing to game 3. Took care of business at home. Take what you get on the road. You're going to be up against it, and just kind of let the chips fall where they may when you roll in to South Florida this weekend. But for now, at least for now, I mean, you're on the brink of winning a playoff series versus the team that is still listed as the betting favorite to win this whole thing. So, I mean, the fact that NSC showed the backbone, showed the spine a little bit in a season where they have kind of continued to defy the odds and punch above their weight a lot of times. Good to see them take care of business. Who knows what will happen Saturday, but at least for this past Saturday, it was a great victory for the guys.
Yeah, Surridge gets them on the board less than 10 minutes in with a penalty kick, and then Josh Bauer extends the lead to 2-0 for halftime. And, Wade, do you take anything out of holding Messi to 1 goal and that coming in the 89th minute?
No, not really, because that's a guy that could go for 5 the next time you play. I mean, he's just that dynamic, that explosive. You're just probably thanking your lucky stars that you were up 2-0 at that point. So, they did put a little dash, a little pucker factor in there on NSC down the stretch. But the fact that Coach Callahan's bunch, stood tall and grinded out the 2-1 victory, kudos to them. Didn't get the clean sheet. That would have been legendary stuff. But don't know that it matters a ton. This will be a Herculean effort. If the result, Mo, would have been 5-0 Nashville on Saturday, it would still be a monumental effort for them to go on the road and win this weekend. But like I said, for now, you got to feel pretty good. You're 1 game away. Anything could, in theory, happen in a 1-game scenario, and maybe it'll break in favor of Nashville down in South Florida this weekend.
They will definitely, like you said, be fighting the odds in that one, though. But, yeah, so you're saying there's a chance?
Saying there's a chance, and, it's going to be interesting because we talked a little bit last week about Miami and their struggles last year, getting eliminated by a very bad pedestrian, if you will, Atlanta United squad in the first round. Maybe a little, hoodoo action happens here, and Miami takes a tumble again. If they do, this is going to be an interesting situation because Philadelphia has won their series in 2 games versus the Fire, but everybody else is sitting there at 1-1. 3 of the 4 series in the East are going to 3 legs. And so if it's Nashville or if it's Miami, whoever comes out of this, it'll be an interesting and entertaining remainder of the Eastern Conference bracket, if nothing else. And, if Nashville were to pull off a stunner, it wouldn't be because NSC just lucked into it. They've played so well all season, punched above their weight all season, and Miami's got that postseason kind of pucker factor that I mentioned a moment ago from previous years.
Yeah, and, maybe Inter Miami kind of loses interest when they roll back out there Saturday night. Maybe Nashville seizes the moment. But with Philadelphia sitting there, Nashville has played Philadelphia really well. In fact, I don't know that they've lost to Philadelphia this year, have they?
Got to go back and check that, but they do get Cincinnati and Columbus in the next round, regardless of what happens here in that 2-7 matchup. So your 3-6 Nashville take on your 2-7. Charlotte and NYFC are going to be the teams that are in line to maybe face Philly, who does all of a sudden, to your point a minute ago, kind of look like after losing their way, maybe a little bit of bad run of form in the middle of the summer, they've kind of turned into a little bit of a juggernaut, running away with the Supporters Shield and then cruising 2-0. So, but to your original kind of point there, I mean, Nashville has had success against Cincinnati. We've seen that before as well. So if it's Cincinnati or Columbus, and certainly if it's Columbus, you got home field advantage sitting there on your side. So if you can somehow go on the road and take care of business this weekend, you might set yourself up quite nicely.
Big if, obviously.
Correct.
As long as they've got Messi over there. So, again, NSC forces the rubber match on Saturday in Miami against Inter Miami with that 2-1 victory over the weekend. Let's take a break here as we continue the weekend wrap-up edition of Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Columbia. When we come back, we'll talk a little local hoops. It's getting started today when Joe Sullivan from Main Street joins us here on Main Street Sports Today. Stick around.
just got closer. All new Sportsbook, the latest gaming machines, live horse racing, and more. The Mid-Gaming Hall, Kentucky Downs.
Winning just got closer.
This holiday season, the largest lantern festival in the country returns to Nashville Zoo. Experience more than 1,000 all-new handcrafted lanterns, towering creatures, magical worlds, and a North Pole village. At the center of it all, the Smashville Ice Rink. Welcome back to Zoolumination at Nashville Zoo. Bigger, brighter, and better than ever.
Busy bee, yeah, busy bee. If you need
Hold on, y'all, hold on. I need to make a call. Hey, this is Brianna with Busy Bee. I'm giving you a call to let you know your technician is on his way.
333.
Busy bee. Guys, not yet. Not yet.
Busy bee, oh,
Now
busy
ready,
bee.
guys.
Call 775-7833.
Custom Stone Handlers supplies over 600 distributors and suppliers with quality stone products. Along with Riverstone, we produce and distribute over 100 building, landscape, and other bulk products. Our goal is to provide quality products, service, and partnerships to ensure our customers' success. We firmly believe the measure of any person or company is how you treat other people and customers. Give them a call at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStoneHandlers.com.
Welcome back into the weekend wrap-up edition of Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. That's Wade Neely. I'm Maurice Patton. Joining us now to talk a little local college basketball is Joe Sullivan from Main Street Media, who covers local hoops like the dew. Joe, good afternoon. Well, where'd Joe go?
I am. There I am.
Welcome back.
If my left eye seems a little droopy, I'm recovering from detached retina surgery.
Ouch.
Yeah, exactly. I have to get a ride to the
I
Belmont
hope that's
game
not as
tonight.
painful as it sounds.
It's not painful. Mostly annoying. Mostly annoying. You got to sleep a certain way, and you can't lift or bend over and stuff like that. And then good soccer talk, led by Wade, of course. But I was impressed by you knowing the fact about the Philadelphia Union, Moa. That was impressive. And
that it wasn't applicable, but yeah, I knew it. So yeah, I leave as much of the
He was moments away from dropping Subaru Park on you, Joe, and really flexing his muscles there.
And did both of you set your alarm for 7 a.m. to watch the Queens game, the first game of the college basketball season at 7 a.m. on YouTube TV?
I didn't watch that one, Joe, but I did watch
Queens against Winthrop. Winthrop. Yeah.
Winthrop got the win. I did sweat a little bit, and I mean sweat, if you catch my drift there. I did sweat a little bit of the St. Bonaventure game as the Bonnies and Woj got the nice win earlier today versus Bradley. So I did already get my fix in this morning.
So I saw this on Twitter on X. So I guess I guess it needs to be confirmed. Can I say it that way? And he was ejected from the arena for arguing with the referees from the stands. Woj today.
That part I did not. That part I did not see because the game was broadcast not on YouTube TV rather, but straight up YouTube, and it cut out about 10 minutes into the second half. So
yeah.
I had to load up the live stats, and let's just say I was glad the Bonnies pulled it out. So
yeah,
and keep it tabs. They didn't have that in the live stats play-by-play that Woj was not.
No, Woj must have kicked the wire loose and he ran out and the stream stopped for a while. But it's I don't know if it's true, but isn't it funny if it is, right?
Quick
Even
Google,
if
by the
it
way,
isn't,
says
funny.
not true, but I want to still believe that it is.
Me too. Kidding?
Certainly adds a little something to get kicked out, and they pick up the win in his debut as general manager, I guess. So, Joe, what have you got your eyes on tonight? Obviously, we've got now. Tell me something. Is this Belmont game at the curb?
It is, yes.
So Air Force is coming here?
Air Force is flying in, and Bo, I'm going to find out for you if they fly commercial or not. I got to find out. if they fly commercial or if the other students are flying them in. We'll find out if that's true. The other the other cadets. We'll see if they're flying them in.
There we go.
Am I getting that right? We still call Air Force their cadets, even though they're right.
Yeah. Out of Colorado Springs, baby.
Yeah.
Which of these games tonight are you most intrigued by here locally? I mean, in addition to Air Force coming to the curb, you've also got Fisk going down Jefferson taking on Tennessee State, and you've got Lipscomb at Memorial against Vanderbilt. Not the best debut for Kevin Carroll, I don't think.
No, not at all. Yes, Nolan Smith debut as the Tennessee State coach should have a win against Fisk. We certainly hope so. That's a traditional game. Look, it's important to the North Nashville as an old rivalry, but it usually isn't close. So I'm not that interested in that, except if it's not close, that would be interesting. And I do think Vanderbilt's a 25.5-point favorite over Lipscomb. And Kevin Carroll's probably going to take some lumps with his non-conference schedule this year. And that's one. So I'm going to the curb to see Belmont, even though that's probably not much of a game either. With Air Force doesn't have much coming back. There's 9 freshmen on the roster. But the reason I'm going is this: I think Belmont. This is going to be a really good season for Belmont. When I talked to Casey Alexander after a recent practice, I saw he's generally confident as a human being, but he sounds really confident about this team. He likes this team a lot. And so I'd like to get the first look at them. They had an exhibition game against Tennessee Tech, which I couldn't go to because of my eye. And then I'm looking forward to seeing them tonight, seeing what's going on. Did we lose Mo Freeze on us? Wait,
briefly.
Yeah.
But
I think I'm back. It sounds like the Missouri Valley has a bunch of good teams, Joe, but not necessarily. I mean, is anybody great in the Valley this time?
Yeah. So Illinois State is really the obvious choice to win the Valley with Chase Walker and Johnny Kinzinger coming back. They're both projected first teams all-league players, a guard and a big guy. Chase Walker is quite a story. He was like 400 pounds when he got out of high school, and he's still not small, but he's lost a lot of weight, and he's a really good player around the basket. So Illinois State is clearly the favorite, I would say. And I always, Bradley, I thought they had great guards coming back, but what I saw today when they're lost to St. Bonaventure, I think they got some work to do. I certainly would put Belmont ahead of them. Based on one game, is probably dangerous, but from what I saw today. And so I think Northern Iowa has a lot of people back. They're going to be good. But I think Belmont is right in the mix with all of these teams this year.
Just from a personnel standpoint, what do you like about Belmont? Who do you like about Belmont?
Yeah, so to start with, we have Tyler Lumblade returning, who was the leading three-point shooter in the country last season. So you start with him, and then you have the 3 big guys that are 2 sophomores and a junior, Brigham Rogers, Sam Orm, and Drew Sharnowski. I really think Orm is going to break out as a possible all-Missouri Valley Conference player this year, 6'9", inside and out player. I really like him. And then the question is, what's going to happen with the point guard situation with Nick McLean coming in from Eastern Washington. His older brother, Kevin, played at Belmont. He's an important player. He has to be solid. He has to take care of the ball. He has to find the shooters. And then Isaiah West coming back to Nashville, where he's from. And then he played at Vanderbilt and he played at Sanford. Now he's coming back. Casey feels he's his best defensive player. So I'm sure he'll see a lot of time. So how West and McLean are going to be very important, and then, but I think otherwise, I think they have players who have already contributed. They're going to have to raise their game, but I'm Casey's confident, so I'm confident that this is going to happen.
And Joe, when you kind of went through the roster just a little bit too, it sounds like a well put together roster in terms of, hey, you got Lundblad as a top marksman in the country there, but also you got some big interior presence there, and you've kind of finished with defense. Just on paper, the way you described it, that sounds like a competitive team in that difficult league, if nothing else.
Yeah, it's well balanced, right?
Right.
That's exactly right. And hey, there's more I should mention this. He had Casey redshirted 3 freshmen last year, which is unheard of in his era. And he has told me all 3 will play this year. One of them's a big guy, Owen Dillon, another 6'9" guy. And then Bez Jenkins is a guard from Georgia, who another good defender, known for his defense. And Casey's his best attribute is on offense is getting fouled, like he gets to the foul line, which is a really good asset. When I talked to Bez during the summer, I asked him what his goal was this season. He goes, "I want to be freshman of the year in the Missouri Valley." So he's thinking big. We'll see if he measures up to that. And then there's a true freshman named Jack Smiley. He's a guard, a shooter, probably in the typical Belmont fashion. And Casey just raved about him to me. He was saying, now, normally freshmen come in and they take a step back. This kid has been forward all the way. He's been tremendous, is the phrase that Casey used to me. So a lot of depth, a lot of offense. If they get some, add some defense on the perimeter with Weston Jenkins, that's really going to up this team's ability to win some close games. So, am I talking too high on Belmont, Mo? I turn to you as the veteran. Correct me.
No, man, I am. I got a great deal of admiration for Casey, and like you said, he's always confident, but it sounds like he's a little over the top, but a little bit more positive than maybe I'm used to hearing him be.
Well, he said the big quote from him was, "We have the pieces to win a championship." That's what he said. And he's talking about Missouri Valley regular season and Arch Madness. That's what he said. So it could be a very interesting season in the curb if that proves to be true.
Yeah, you'd like to see that. Again, Lipscomb Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt's a huge favorite in this one, but the first time officially, man, what is up with these exhibition games, these preseason games? I mean, 3-4 years ago, it was you can't publicize them, you can't talk about them, and now you got folks actually going and watching them, which is cool, but the paradigm shift is just kind of mind-blowing.
Yeah, it's sort of a divide now. Some of them are listed as exhibitions where paid admission, and those can be publicized. The secret scrimmages still exist, and those can't be publicized. So Vanderbilt had a pair of exhibitions that we know about, and they won both of them, Virginia and UAB. I guess the Virginia game was a little oddly played. They played 4 12-minute quarters and reset the score after the first 24 minutes. But Vanderbilt won both of their exhibitions slash scrimmages. The stunning thing that came out, so we're not supposed to know about these secret scrimmages, but Lipscomb won both of theirs. And I know I've said in the past, I think Kevin's going to have a tough season. I still believe that, but they scrimmaged Tennessee State and they got the better of them. But then just recently they scrimmaged Chattanooga, who is the preseason #1 in the Southern Conference, supposed to be a terrific team. And the Lipscomb people won that. So I heard through Lipscomb people that Lipscomb beat Chattanooga in the scrimmage. So it's not a real game. So it's, who knows what Dan Earl was doing with his Chattanooga team that afternoon. It is so maybe I shouldn't be as down on Lipscomb. We'll find. We'll see later tonight. I did hear Mateo Esmeraldo, the point guard that transferred from Trevecca with Kevin. Kevin coached him last year at Trevecca. Played very well in both scrimmages, and he's going to be an important player because the other point guard type they had on the team, Logan Zuber, tore his ACL in preseason. So they don't really have. It's Mateo is the guy handling the ball. He's going to have to play a lot of minutes for them.
I don't know what it means with the transfer portal and everything else, but Chattanooga did win the NIT last year.
Yeah, exactly. And they're supposed to be good again. So it's shocking to hear that. But look, there's been teams. I think the most significant preseason upset we heard about was Syracuse losing to Lemoyne, the other school in Syracuse, and then that was the year they won the national championship with Carmelo. So we'll see when the games count. Then we'll know.
My point of all of that though was Vanderbilt obviously added a lot of pieces over the offseason to a team that really, showed a lot of spunk and a lot of fight and had some success despite some size disadvantages last season. And I think there's got to be a lot of intrigue in terms of what Mark 2 looks like.
Yeah, so they have a lot of new players. You're absolutely right, Mo, but they don't have an entirely new roster like they did last season. So they have 3 really solid players coming back. In fact, I think one who could have a great season, Devin McLaughlin, is the 6'9". Well, he's not really that tall, but that is listed as that. He had to play center for them last season.
Right.
He doesn't have to do that anymore because they brought in Jalen Washington from North Carolina and his high school teammate, Mason Nicholson from Jacksonville State. And so they have big guys now, which they didn't have. And it was a weakness last year. But I think McLaughlin, going back to his natural position, is shaping up to have a great season for them. I really do. And also Tyler Nickel, the really good shooter, the 6'6" shooter, is back. And then Tyler Tanner, who had a terrific freshman year as a guard. So those 3 guys are going to be critical. And then you toss in some of the new guys that I think in the scrimmages / exhibition games, Duke Miles is a guy from Oklahoma. He scored a bunch of points in these games. And Tyrone Harris is a forward who transferred from Washington. These are guys who might be scoring a lot for them this season.
It seemed to be at the time that they announced his arrival. I'm not sure what he's done over the preseason, but the guard from TCU,
Frankie Collins. Yeah, Frankie Collins. Yeah, he'll be involved too. Absolutely. Okay. He's a graduate transfer, so he's had a lot of experience, and he'll be an important part of the rotation. You're right.
We talked about Tennessee State at the time Nolan Smith was announced to replace Penny Collins, and really, given the time that position came open, really felt like Mickey Allen did a great job of being able to get a guy with a background of a Nolan Smith in there. What are the expectations for Tennessee State here? And again, they're playing Fisk. Fisk is a D3 program. It's a big game traditionally, but it's not a big game from a competitive standpoint necessarily. But what do you want to see out of TSU other than them take care of business tonight?
So I think Nolan Smith was inherited a team that I think was not going to be a great team to begin with. But they, of course, they're in the Ohio Valley Conference, which is weaker by the minute. It's on life support as a league, the Ohio Valley Conference. And so I don't want to eliminate them as a contender because I think the league is so weak. But I don't – they have a non-conference schedule, which I think is going to be tough. Belmont, they play Western Kentucky, Tennessee, UNC Asheville, Chattanooga, and UNLV. Those still sounds like losses to me, one after the other. So what they do have is some experience back. I don't have a real good feel for any of their transfers, but they do have a Sullivan favorite in Aaron Nkrumah returning, the 6'6" guard, who I really think is a terrific player. But look, Nolan Smith impact will be seen next season when he has a recruiting season to go through, a transfer portal to go through, and he can use his influence as a former Duke player. I think you'll see an entirely new roster there next season, and it wouldn't surprise me if it was a highly competitive one, and maybe even an OVC contender, maybe a potential championship in the OVC. I agree with everything you said about the hire by Mickey Allen. Nolan Smith is a great hire, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens there starting next season.
All right.
Yeah. Kind of got to wait a little bit a year.
Yeah, you do. If he does something with this team, then he's a miracle man.
Right.
There we go. Joe Sullivan of Main Street Media joining us here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. You know, Joe, obviously this is day one. What are you looking forward to the rest of this week? Is there anything on the docket necessarily that's caught your eye here over the next few days as we get past opening day?
Yeah, nothing of great matchups that's happening. It's mostly a lot of bye games and games mismatches, I would say, of other times. Nothing really that is going to be something to mark your calendar this week, but it'll pick up after that.
Florida, Arizona tonight, though, at least, Joe.
Oh, of course. I was thinking locally.
Well,
You're right about that. There are some other good national games. Some of the early season matchups are good. Yes.
And one, Villanova comes in unranked, but we get our first look at BYU tonight, and their much heralded recruiting class, number one player in the country coming in. I'm curious, Joe, does BYU kind of have the goods to maybe make a deep run for a program that's kind of, largely only flirted with, in those Jimmer years, kind of getting you excited, but falling short there? Do you think maybe this is the year they can bust through all the way?
Boy, if they don't, it's be a lot of wasted money.
Yeah.
They bought a very good. They've purchased a very talented team. AJ DeBonza is from the Boston area.
Come on.
Yeah, he's originally from Brockton, Massachusetts. Where I know Mo will know this. Brockton, Massachusetts, the home of Rocky Marciano and other boxers too. But it is. They're very talented, and DeBonza is. Some people think he's a contender, based on what they've seen of him in high school and grassroots basketball as a National Player of the Year. This is a 6'8", 6'9" guard, and I haven't seen him play except in highlights. I tell you who I did see play, and it was an exhibition game, who I loved as a freshman, was Cameron Boozer at Duke. And he, I would, after when I saw that other night, he had 29 points and 25 rebounds. I think he's a contender for National Player of the Year. And you know what they say about him? He played at like a fairly regular high school rather than, one of those made up ones. He won championships. He's a winner. The teams he's on win games. And his style of play speaks to that. And he's the son of Carlos Boozer, the former Duke player, NBA player. Now he's on TV somewhere, isn't he? Carlos Boozer?
Everybody's on TV now.
Yeah,
Joe,
exactly.
So
all right. I'm sorry.
He's on Peacock, probably.
And he has a twin brother who's also on the team with him, he's a guard. So Cameron Boozer and Duke, I think I like the way that I like his game a lot. And we'll see how AJ DeBonza stacks up against him. And then the other great freshman is Darren Peterson at Kansas, who people think might be better than all of them. Haven't seen him play yet either, though.
You mentioned Boozer, and you talked about DeBonza there, and I'm wondering National Player of the Year. Sell me on somebody other than Smith from Purdue, and sell me somebody other than Purdue maybe winning it all this year. Make an argument or make a case for a couple other teams in your mind.
Do you know that Brandon Smith, people think
he's like a 12th year senior?
Yeah, so he's Purdue's point guard who probably is going to break Bobby Hurley's record for career assists this year. Do you know he really was ticketed to go to Belmont?
Did not know that.
Yes, he was. Casey had him.
Had a Player of the Year waiting in his wings and didn't know.
Yes, had him. We got to go back, and I'm not avoiding your question, but Casey's had a lot of great players come through there, NBA players, as we now know, and he had Brandon Smith on his way to Belmont, but then Purdue snuck in late and took him, and now look what happens. So I think in terms of National Player of the Year, I'm going to have to pause on this because it's so early, and I know we mentioned those freshmen, but it's rare that it happens for a freshman, and I have my doubts about Brandon Smith as a point guard. We'll have to see. I guess I am going to duck your question, Wade, but you know what? I'll come back my next show and I will have an answer for you. How about that?
Thank you for that, Joe. But all I was really doing was buttering you up. Tell me why Michigan doesn't go undefeated the rest of the season after they beat Oakland tonight with Yaxelberg taking care of business in the paint for the guys.
And I saw that he was voted All-American preseason. Boy, there's a lot of pressure on him to perform. He's got a big paycheck, and the people are expecting a lot out of him. And basically he was all league in the American last year, the American Conference. So we'll see. Michigan should be good. Dusty May seems to have has things in motion, doing well at Michigan. So you should feel good about your team.
Okay. Undefeated starts tonight, so I'm looking forward to you kind of
Oakland.
Yeah, it's not necessarily your easiest game to maybe.
Oakland can be dangerous, as teams have found out. John Calipari found out in the NCAA tournament.
Correct.
Yeah.
I don't think those guys are going to walk through that door, though. So Michigan may be okay, but
most likely.
Joe Sullivan of Main Street Media joining us here on Main Street Sports today, talking a little local hoops and beyond. Joe,
yes,
appreciate it. Take care of that eye. And,
I will.
Man, that's that kind of thing always scares me. So I hope everything works out and does what it's supposed to do.
Yeah, vision is at stake. You got to be careful. You got to take care of it.
No doubt. You only.
I'm gonna withhold a joke about college basketball officials as a second career for you if things did go sideways, Joe.
That's a good one.
That is a good one. I like the run up to that. Joe, we appreciate it. We'll catch up with you.
Thank you for having me on.
See you soon.
All right. Let's take a break here as we continue the weekend wrap-up edition of Main Street Sports today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. Let's come back. Let's talk a little baseball. Stick around.
Columbia Power and Water Systems is dedicated to bringing our customers reliable, local service. Whether you're turning on a light switch, your faucet, or streaming on TV, our dedicated team members from here in Murray County work every day to keep you on. If you need us, call us 931-388-4833 or visit cpws.com. CPWS, local service, local support.
Zion Christian Academy at zioneagles.org or 931-388-7531. You can schedule your appointment to visit their beautiful campus. Again, zioneagles.org or 931-7531 to schedule your visit today.
We continue with the weekend wrap-up edition of Main Street Sports today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. That's Wade Neely. I'm Maurice Patton. I think the World Series kind of gave us everything that it could give us without Toronto winning it. It was I think the Dodgers were the prohibitive favorite all season long in every postseason series, that kind of thing. Toronto bouncing back from that 18-inning loss to win the next two games and get themselves within a game going home. And then the Dodgers just kind of did what everybody expected the Dodgers to do all along, I guess. Winning 3-1 on Friday and then 5-4 in another extra inning thriller to win it all on Saturday. And grudgingly, congratulations to the Los Angeles Dodgers. I guess there's something to be said for being expected to do it and still doing it.
Yeah, especially in baseball, right? I mean, that's the one sport where nothing is guaranteed. And how many times over the years have we seen 100+ win teams that have major expectations? They don't even reach the World Series, let alone win it.
Yeah. So, best team money can buy, maybe, but they still went out there and got it done. And Yamamoto and his performance coming back after Game 6 and going 2 2/3 in the final game. Did he get the win?
Yeah, he was pitching,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I think yeah. So I mean, that's as big time as it gets. I mean, going on 0 days rest and turning in a performance like that in a win, it's it's historic. I mean, he almost upstaged Ohtani maybe with that performance. So a lot from the Dodgers standpoint to kind of look at, and just your mouth just drops open. But big win. And you have to like the Dodgers' sense of timing. They waited until most of the college football slate got done to give you time to get over to the Fox to see that thing wrap up. So, kudos to them for timing on Saturday night as well.
Yeah, the execs love that because even in Game 7 of a World Series, everybody's watching college football. Ain't nobody tuning in until the big games of the day are done. That kind of tells you where you are. And you prefaced it a little bit ago. Mo, you and I talked about on this very same show back in January when we were talking about the Chiefs and their run. You just got to appreciate greatness. And we both kind of were in alignment with the Chiefs then, saying, man, we'd be rooting for these guys because we want to just witness kind of the greatness that we're in. And we're kind of in that era with the Dodgers. Love them or hate them, they continue to get the job done. And again, this is the one sport where, yeah, you can spend a lot of money. Yeah, you can stack the deck heavily in your favor, but ain't nothing guaranteed. And so at least props for going out and getting the win. And like you said, getting us through all the college football games. So, even the casuals could tune in for a little 2 or 3 innings of baseball there.
Winning their second straight World Series championship makes them the first team to repeat since the Yankees won 3 straight back in 1998 to 2000, downing the Padres, Braves, and Mets in order. Dodgers became the first National League team to do that since Cincinnati when they defeated Boston in 75 and the Yankees in 76. So some rarefied air for the Dodgers, but again, not a huge surprise. Still, you got to get it done.
Quick too, you mentioned it earlier too, Yamamoto. We also had that moment. He was getting ready to come in the game if it had gone to a 19th inning earlier. This guy was literally the Iron Man in the playoffs, but especially the World Series. And I loved the lead in the story after the game. It said his arms were so tired he could barely even hold up the MVP trophy. I mean, this guy literally left it out there on the field. The ultimate kind of Iron Man performance in a era where we didn't think we would ever see any of those type performances ever again.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess hats off to Dave Roberts for putting him in that position. I mean, in an era where and I don't want to say that Dave Roberts didn't care about the kid's arm or arms, but letting guys do what they say they can do. I mean, how many of those type performances have we missed out on because of the concern about fatigue and overuse and that kind of thing? I mean, it's a fine line, I guess, but maybe know your guys. I don't know. There's a lot of nuance involved there, I guess, but the fact that Yamamoto was willing to take that on and the fact that Roberts was willing to let him, there's something there.
And that, I mean, you wonder, I mean, they'd already burned through because Ohtani, we knew coming into the game, was not going to be able to go very long anyway. And then he got clubbed around, so that leash got even shorter, only lasting 2 1/3. Then you just got to bleed through your bullpen. Yeah, kudos for doing it. But, I mean, you didn't really have a ton of options because both teams were essentially depleted, other than maybe rolling out ancient Clayton Kershaw for one final inning, which we saw, in the relief in the 18-inning affair. But the options were kind of limited. So, yeah, some credit is due. But also, I mean, man, that just is a testament to both teams and the amount of arms. And, I mean, Savage even came in the game at one point in the middle innings there. So, I mean, they were exhausting each and every single option they had at their disposal. It was epic.
It really was. And I mean, what we get? We got 2 extra inning games out of this. Obviously, the marathon in game 4, and then this one to wrap it all up. It's even if you didn't necessarily have a dog in the hunt, and I really didn't, you got to admire the way both those teams went about their business. I mean, it's really tough for the Blue Jays to lose it the way they did, and so many close plays, and a lot of folks breaking down the infield up, the play at the plate late on Saturday night, whether Connor Falefa had enough of a lead or whether he should have pushed that out there a little bit farther. But, at the same time, Rojas stumbles on that play. If he fields that clean, I mean, it's not close enough to matter. So they say baseball is a game of inches. I think you saw it there. You saw it on a number of occasions. That catch that Pages made out there in left center late in that ball game. Just a lot in a game 7 between 2 really evenly matched teams, apparently.
2 evenly matched teams, and maybe it all came down to one simple fact. Drake was there for game 6 and game 7, and the Drake curse lives on. Kendrick Lamar wins yet again in the rivalry. They not like us on repeat, right? And you mentioned Rojas. Got to give him some extra props too, making that play. My man was rocking the biggest chain you've ever seen, a Van Cleef chain, which goes for upwards of $25,000 plus. Didn't even think about losing one little bit of the pearls on that bad boy when he makes the throw home and then also clubs one out of there. It was an epic series, had everything you could want and then some. And yeah, when Drake shows up, you pretty much knew it was a wrap. And the poor fellow stays catching yet another L from the West Coast.
Folks going to start banning him, huh?
I mean, he bets on a team, they lose. He shows up at your game, they lose. We've got enough data. I'm a huge data guy, Mo. The stats kind of bear themselves out. And if you're a Toronto fan, that should have been the circling of the end. You're right, though. They should have won that game probably going back to Friday night. But then, the secondary lead, certainly not even there. Otherwise, we're talking about them winning that game. Almost a crazy situation where the toe tap doesn't come down from Smith behind the plate in time, right? I mean, there was a game of inches. There were 6 different ways the Sunday this series could have flipped one way or the other. And unfortunately for the Blue Jays, almost every single one of them went in favor of the Dodgers.
Yeah. Mookie Betts, former Overton multi-sport standout, gets his 4th ring. Nobody else currently playing has that many. It's pretty amazing. Former bowler, former basketball player in high school, and been a right fielder for most of his career at the major league level. He stepped in at shortstop. We talked about his offensive struggles here in the World Series, but to his credit, he didn't take it to the field, and he made every play that needed making from shortstop. And, I've not really thought this all the way through, but best player to ever come out of Nashville, out of Middle Tennessee, out of Tennessee. I mean, if anybody has any challenges, throw them at us. I think it's a great discussion. Certainly, I'm not aware of anybody else that's won 4 World Series rings.
And I'm not aware of that many players that have even got one. So you're the expert here, Rod, to let the Twitter mob come for you, my friend.
Let's hope not. Let's hope not. But and it was interesting. So I get up this morning, and again, one of the first things I do is I check my socials, and the Tennessee Baseball Coaches Association announced earlier today its 2026 Hall of Fame class. They'll be inducted at their coaching clinic in January. Gibbs High School out of Knoxville baseball coach Jeff Davis, Montgomery Central coach Todd Dunn, Columbia Academy coach Richie Estep, and the aforementioned former Overton 3-sport standout Mookie Betts. So, not sure if he'll be on hand for the honor or not, but might want to check on tickets for that. Congrats to all 4 of those guys, obviously. But and nice for the other 3 to be going in with Mookie.
Yeah, sounds like a heck of a class.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're familiar with obviously what E-Step has done both at Columbia Academy and at Good Pasture before that. I'm not. Maybe we need to recruit Calvin to talk a little bit about Todd Dunn and his exploits up at Montgomery Central. Not real familiar with Jeff Davis over at Gibbs, but again, that is your four-person class in the 2026 Tennessee Baseball Coaches Association's Hall of Fame induction class in January. And now that baseball is over with on the field, Braves fan, when are we going to get a manager? I mean, conjecture had circled around the bench coach for the Dodgers, whose name escapes me now, but I would think that if that decision has been made, an announcement would be forthcoming here pretty soon. Again, they don't necessarily like for a lot of that stuff to come out during the World Series. So maybe the smoke has cleared sufficiently that the Braves can, get some folks off of some ledges and name a successor to Brian Snitker. Danny Lehman is the guy who is on the Dodgers coaching staff who seems to be the favorite for that position at this point. So nice pedigree.
Yeah, winning if nothing else, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's take a break here as we come to the top of hour number one here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. When we come back for hour number two, let's swing into some football. Stick around. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50 plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy at zioneagles.org or 931-388-7531. You can schedule your appointment to visit their beautiful campus. Again, zioneagles.org or 931-7531 to schedule your visit today.
Is your internet slowing you down? It's time for an upgrade. Whether you're at home, working from your home office, or at your business, it's time to unleash the speed you need with speeds up to 1 gig at CPWS for as low as $70 a month. Give us a call, 931-375-7777. Local service, local support, CPWS.
Piggly Wiggly, located in Neely's Mill Shopping Center, is Columbia's locally owned and operated Cost Plus 10 grocery store dedicated to serving the community with low prices and smiling faces. Piggly Wiggly offers fresh, hand-cut meats daily as well as daily hot plate lunches from their deli counter. You're certain to see smiling faces and a helping hand when you're here at Piggly Wiggly. Come by and check out our fresh produce, high-quality meats, and more. Down home, down the street, we'll see you at the Pig.
It's hour number two of the weekend wrap up here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. And probably among the folks happy to see the weekend wrap up would be the Tennessee Titans, because coming off of that 27-20 loss yesterday to the Chargers, the Titans go into a bye week, an open week, and I could dearly use a break. I mean, mentally as much as anything. 1-8 now with that loss. And like a number of their games have been here of late. They started out pretty promising, got the big Cody Barton interception return, and looked like they had some stuff maybe going in their direction, but once again, can't close things out, and another loss.
Yeah, tough one for the Titans yesterday. Chargers kind of left the door cracked ever so slightly ajar. They were not at their very best by any means, but you mentioned it on a day where your offense is pretty doggone bad. It's your defense and your special teams that kind of give you at least a little glimmer of hope. And special teams continues to be the real shining star of this entire season, but it wasn't enough. The Chargers kind of found their rhythm. Herbert was really, really impressive, maneuvering in and out of the pocket on a number of different occasions, stepping up in the pocket to make a big throw downfield, stepping out of the pocket and using his legs to extend plays. Just saw two different teams, two vastly different teams. One that, is a fringe Super Bowl contender, injury to Joe Alt notwithstanding like we saw yesterday. But other than that, maybe right there on the cusp. And then a team that's, right there in the mix with Tankathon.
Yeah, and it was kind of crazy to watch that game unfold because it looked like the front seven defensively was getting some pressure on Herbert. I'm not sure how many sacks they finished up with, but they got to him on a handful of occasions. But on the back end, if they didn't get a hold of him, he was carving them up back there. And again, as we had her on Friday, they are without Brownlee, they are without McCreary. They're in back there, and it kind of showed Sunday.
Yeah, saw one of the ultimate enigma, right? We saw the good Justin Herbert yesterday. There have been times throughout his career where he looks like an MVP type performer, and yesterday was one of those performances. On the other hand, we've seen some bad Justin Herbert where he looks like one of the worst quarterbacks in the league. And Titans got to him 6 times. That offensive line has been banged up all season long. They had a massive injury in the preseason to Rashawn Slater. He's obviously out for the rest of the year. Joe Alt came back from an injury that looked season-ending earlier this year, only to see him go down yesterday. And saw him in the locker tunnel right before he was coming out of the locker room yesterday. And that is a big human being, and even slightly limited. I would not want to get in the way of Joe Alt. And, when he goes down, I'm thinking, okay, maybe the Titans got a chance. Sebastian Joseph Day had a huge game up front for the Titans, who are without Simmons, right? So, I mean, we're talking about a Titans defense that is kind of doing the best it absolutely can. And Cody Barton, just when folks were getting ready to ship him out of town and saying that might be one of the worst moves they made all offseason, he actually had a decent little game and, of course, had the first touchdown of the afternoon. So there were a few little things to get you maybe your hopes up just ever so slightly. But they weren't meant to be because the Chargers found a way. It looked like a classic Harbaugh screw-up type game written all over it, but somehow, some way, they righted the ship and got out of there with the win.
Yeah, to your point about the offense not being very productive at all. Again, all 20 points for Tennessee coming on the pick six by Barton, the Chimdike 67-yard punt return, and a couple of Joey Sly field goals. Man, that's just tough to see the offense continue to underachieve as mightily as it is at this point. And that's got to be tough for the other two phases, hey, we're doing all we can, and you don't want to get into finger pointing and that kind of thing. I think they're professionals and they probably know that 0 points is not good, but still, that's tough to watch.
Tough to watch. And, the special teams you mentioned, I mean, the biggest thing maybe for the Titans at this point in the offseason is going to be, can you keep Bones Fossil around? Because that's a guy that has totally resurrected one of the worst units in the entire NFL last season. So that unit has glowingly been one of the best in the NFL. That's the bad news, that your special teams, you're talking about being one of your best units in the NFL. And that's not because your other two units are doing okay. It's just because they are head and shoulders above everybody else. So it was a tough situation, like I said, on paper coming in, you honestly thought the Chargers were really going to blow this thing open in the second half. Defense did as best it could, like I said, and put the clamps down. Did give up a 99-yard drive, which was utterly demoralizing to basically seal the game. But back to the drawing board. You mentioned the bye week will hopefully bring brighter and brighter things for the Titans. They can't get much worse.
No, they can't. And the trade deadline is tomorrow, as Teresa Walker pointed out when we spoke with her as well. there will be some guys that will be leaving for the bye week and just won't be back, I imagine. So be keeping an eye on that and how that develops as well.
Yeah, and to that point, you're not going to get back anybody of major critical importance for this season. So I mean, just remember that when we're breaking down future games here, the key pieces that you might be trading away, you're not getting players back, you're getting picks back. So buckle up for the next second half of the season here.
Yeah, from a personnel standpoint, it's not going to get better. So, you mentioned that 99-yard drive for the Chargers. That started with I wasn't watching at that time. I think I had actually dozed off, but a botched or probably a bad call. Was that the Wildcat down on the goal line that they didn't get in on fourth down that touched that off? I mean, there was a Titans opportunity to get in the end zone right there, and they didn't, and that's what the Chargers took advantage of to go back the other way for that 15-play 99-yard drive, I believe.
Yeah, I'm like you. I was in motion yesterday most of the day at Nissan Stadium, so I didn't really get to watch but the half of the first quarter. But as they did go Wildcat a couple times, I don't know if that was the specific play. They had one. Could have been a really sweet play at midfield, but it was absolutely blown up by the Chargers. But yeah, in the year of our Lord 2025, we saw the Wildcat out here getting ran in an NFL game. Ronnie Brown has not made an appearance on a roster in quite some time, but they did go, and the goal line offense obviously got stuff. The key play in question on the fourth down stop, you can see it develop. Skronsky pulls on the left side guard, and something happened. Skronsky either stumbled or got cut. He lost his footing, and Pollard ran right where he was supposed to. There was supposed to be a hole that Skronsky had now vacated, but when he took the trip, it basically led to a mass pileup, and as a result, he got denied. So it was there in theory, and I still haven't gone back and literally kind of ran it tape by tape there, or frame by frame. But something happened. He got bogged up right there in the middle, and just a mass of humanity formed, and that mass did not move forward.
And, I think, Wade, what you just described or something happened there, that's the thing. When you are 1-7, 1-8, things like that just happen. And it's kind of tough to get out of your own way. Meanwhile,
hey, and bad news for the Titans. Saints lost also yesterday. So Tankathon, no change to the draft order there at the moment. Still number 2 pick.
Man, it kind of feels like the Commanders, I don't know if they went to the crossroads or what, but everything this year and had all of those good vibes going in their direction have really flipped. Not only did they lose 38-14 to Seattle last night, but they lost Jaden Daniels again. I didn't see the play, but everybody I've talked to about it, I'm glad I didn't see the play. It sounds like Daniels hyperextended his elbow, dislocated his left elbow, fortunately, but had to be, they brought the cart out. He wouldn't get on it, but had to be walked off with staffer supporting his arm there. Tough situation there for the young quarterback, and tough for Washington, who, again, seemed like they had a lot of positive momentum coming into this season with that kid at quarterback, and it just kind of feels like they've lost a lot of that, if not all of that.
Yeah, and thoughts and prayers to everybody's favorite PFT commenter, right? I mean, noted Commanders fan is really going through it because, the question becomes, what in the world is Daniels doing out there and at that point in the game, right? Dan Quinn has got some real questions, and if I'm at him, I'm not sleeping very well last night because not only do you have the injury, and then you basically give up the game anyway right after that. So really, what are you doing? Kind of what is your strategy? It's easy to sit here and point fingers after the fact, but man, you really kind of have some concerns or some questions, if nothing else, as to why he was still in the game in a blowout.
Yeah, and you're talking about somebody who has had a hamstring injury earlier this year. He's been a little banged up already here in the first half, and then you get him back, and he's in there for that. Yeah, and I think it was maybe 38-7 at that point. To your point, why is he still out there? And now he won't be out there for a while. They don't necessarily think it's season ending, but shoot, it might be. I mean, maybe he just says, you know what, I'm out. So be interesting to keep an eye on that. But a tough situation there in Washington. Buffalo and Kansas City delivered. Bills with a 28-21 win final, but it's typically going to be like that when those two play, particularly during the regular season.
Yeah, and Kansas City kind of not at their best, or not what they've been in the 3 previous games coming into this one. So kudos to Buffalo for getting it done. Really thought Spagnuolo would dial up a little more schemes to kind of get Allen uncomfortable, but by and large, Buffalo seized control of this game from the jump, and it was never really out of their possession or out of their grasp. Chiefs made it close in the fourth quarter, obviously, but other than that, it was Buffalo kind of wire to wire. But you always wonder, too, it's the first meeting, Look, I would not be surprised if it's the last meeting between these teams. So good little exhibition in a sense, kind of a taste tester of what might still be to come. Chiefs, in theory, going to be okay. But, yeah, their offense did not look in sync compared to what we'd seen out of them the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, and, they're still kind of in flux with getting all those folks back. Rashee Rice and some of the guys that
they looked good in the previous. Rice has had 2 of his best games the last 2 weeks.
Yeah. So interesting to keep an eye on. And, Denver beating Houston, what does that do for the AFC West with Kansas City, dropping that one? I mean, I've not things, but maybe Denver is putting something together here for the second half.
I mean, they continue. They're on a 6-game win streak, and all 6 of their wins have seemingly been in different fashions. They've got a blowout win. They've got a couple of ugly wins. They've got games they've gotten outplayed, and they somehow survived. And heard a parallel earlier today that, Bo Nix is essentially a better version of Broncos Tim Tebow, what we're seeing right now. He has kind of really done a good job this season, especially in these last 6 wins, playing ugly as heck for 2.5, 3 quarters, and then in the fourth quarter just finds his rhythm and just looks supernova. And against a really, really elite Texans defense, that was kind of about the game that we expected coming into this game. The injury to Stroud obviously maybe altered the major calculus of the game as far as Houston's side, but Denver's still right there in the mix. And yeah, if they're going to keep winning games like this, they look like the Chiefs that we're used to seeing in the regular season the last couple of years, where you somehow, some way find a way to victory. 6 in a row, all different shapes and sizes. They've gotten it done.
Pittsburgh 27, Indianapolis 20. I don't know if it's the Colts coming back to earth necessarily, or if it's just, they ran into another good.
It's an interesting question, right? I mean, we wondered about it on Friday with Teresa. Is it Danny Dimes? Is Indiana Jones leading the offense, and is Jonathan Taylor kind of tailing behind him? Or is it Taylor's run game that make Jones look so strong thus far this season? And if at least this week's result is any indication, it's the latter, because Jonathan Taylor was a shell of himself thanks to the Pittsburgh front four really kind of bottling things up. As a result, pivot to Indiana Jones, and he couldn't win the game for him. He looked kind of pedestrian at best like yesterday. So if they're not balanced, they look a little weak, and, a few little cracks maybe perhaps there for Indy. And credit for Pittsburgh, just when you count them out. Pittsburgh is a favorite. Run for the hills. Bank on them to catch an L. If Pittsburgh is backed against the wall and an underdog, you might ought to back up the truck. They looked pretty good yesterday in that role.
Cam Little hammers a 68-yard field goal for an NFL record, and Jacksonville wins in overtime out at Vegas 30-29. I mean, he didn't just inch that one over the crossbar either. I mean, it would have cleared from about another 2 or 3 yards. And when you're talking 2 or 3 yards on a 68-yarder, that's pretty dang impressive.
Yeah, spare me with your kicking ball comments, Internet Nation. I mean, yeah, they're inflating these things with helium practically, but I don't care. I got to see a 68-yarder. That was pretty cool. And, the Jaguars barely survived versus the Raiders. Raiders did look a lot better. It's funny how Brock Bowers, being back in the lineup will make any offense look great. That guy was electric yesterday. We saw Geno finally show up for the first time all season with those 4 touchdowns. But yes, you inflate the ball with helium and you're going to see some big time efforts. But that buddy would have been good from about 75 the way he booted that yesterday.
He hit it. He got every bit of it for sure. Monday Night Football. Arizona is at Dallas. Kyler Murray, I don't think is expected to play in this one. Jacoby Brissett going to get the start. If he doesn't, I'm not sure if that's a break for Dallas or not.
Brissett's looked good in the backup role the last couple of weeks here. And yeah, if you're Dallas, maybe not, because Brissett, yeah, if Murray is in there, you have a chance to see, 30, 40 plus points get put up and some eye-popping numbers. But Brissett is slow and steady and methodical, and got that old man game to him, got that old man creep to him, and has looked pretty solid leading the offense. Dallas's defense is pretty bad, to say the least, pretty porous, to say the least. Maybe we're in line for a weird kind of fun shootout tonight. Should be fun. Looking forward to a good one on MNF.
Arizona needs some good vibes and probably deserves something, considering they are the only team that's lost to the Titans to this point. So maybe karma comes back for the Cardinals in Jerry's world tonight. Keep an eye on that one. Let's take a break here on the weekend wrap-up edition of Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. When we come back, we'll talk a little hockey with Ann Kimmel of Penalty Box Radio. Stick around.
This holiday season, the largest lantern festival in the country returns to Nashville Zoo. Experience more than 1,000 all-new handcrafted lanterns, towering creatures, magical worlds, and a North Pole village. At the center of it all, the Smashville Ice Rink. Welcome back to Zoolumination at Nashville Zoo. Bigger, brighter, and better than ever.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50 plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Piggly Wiggly, located in Neely's Mill Shopping Center, is Columbia's locally owned and operated Cost Plus 10 grocery store dedicated to serving the community with low prices and smiling faces. Piggly Wiggly offers fresh, hand-cut meats daily, as well as daily hot plate lunches from their deli counter. You're certain to see smiling faces and a helping hand when you're here at Piggly Wiggly. Come by and check out our fresh produce, high-quality meats, and more. Down home, down the street, we'll see you at the Pig.
Welcome back into the weekend wrap-up edition of Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. That's Wade Neely. I'm Maurice Patton. Joining us now from Penalty Box Radio, it's Ann Kimmel, talking Nashville Predators. Ann, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. It's always great to jump on here. Hopefully, we'll have some positive hockey talk coming up in the next week or so to prepare for as well.
Absolutely. Positive is good. And, positive coming out of Saturday, and feels really great because, as Pete Weber and Terry Crisp were being inducted into the Golden Hall for the Predators, it would have been most unfortunate to have a loss around such a big honor for two so deserving individuals, it feels like.
Absolutely. There are, you want to win every game, but there are just some scenarios and some situations where a win feels more important. And like you said, when you are honoring Terry Crisp and Pete Weber, really two of the people who have brought this sport to Nashville, to the South, who have made people fall in love with this organization, that is a night you want to get a win. So it was really exciting to see Nashville get a win. It was very exciting to get to celebrate that. with Pete and Terry against the Calgary Flames, who Terry Crisp, of course, has a history with as well. So that was a really, really special Saturday night.
They are the 4th and 5th members of the Preds Hall of Fame. The obvious suspects, David Poyle, Shea Weber, and Pekka Rinne, preceding those two. But again, you wanted to close that out the right way. And, they got up 3-0 and then kind of, I don't know if hold on is the right word, but 4-2 final, a win.
A win. At this point with the Nashville Predators, a win is a win is a win. It was great to see them go up early. I don't know that we've had much experience this season seeing this team put up, 3-0 early in the first period. But there was a little hitch in the giddy up there in the third period as Calgary scored 2 goals to make it a 1-goal game. And you just kind of feel the frustration and the anxiety ramping up at Bridgestone Arena. Fortunately, like you mentioned, the Preds were able to get an empty net goal from Philip Forsberg and walk away with a 4-2 win. But there was some nerves there for those of us who are used to watching this team this season.
Yeah. And I'm curious, as the 3-0 margin bruise, number one, that was refreshing to see. But then number two, why can't we have nice things? Why couldn't they sustain that into the second and the third? Right? I mean, so is this team kind of still seeking? Even on a night where they put up 4, which we've talked about the woes in even reaching that mark, but what can they do to try and continue to chase a complete game offensively in your mind?
That is the question actually of the day. We were just down at Bridgestone Arena for morning skate and it had an opportunity. We were talking with Andrew Brunette, and Andrew Brunette said, look, we have to put together 60 minutes of hockey. And to be honest, most of the games that this team has played so far have been 40 minutes of good hockey, 20 minutes of good hockey, but you really need 60 minutes of good hockey. And it was very frustrating, I think, that Saturday night game to see this team get 3 goals in a short span of time, which, like you said, goals, it's like, gold around here.
Hooray. Yeah.
Yeah. We were so excited that we were getting nice things. And then all of the sudden, there is this kind of lull in how the team performs. And Andrew Brunette, I think that there are some lineup issues going on. I think you've got some players that just aren't going, but I do think and he said today, there's a mental component of this for the team as well, really being able to stay engaged and stay competitive for 60 minutes. And that's something that, again, tonight against Vancouver, they really want to focus on.
And also, kind of focusing on some of the youngsters and some bright spots. We've seen Matthew Wood kind of, at least maybe not everybody else is pitching in 60 minutes, but how impressive has he been thus far as he kind of starting, I'm going to whisper this, but kind of starting to find his offensive stride a little bit.
Oh, you want to talk about nice things. Matthew Wood has been a nice thing for the Nashville Predators. He's played 6 games. He has goals in back-to-back games. This is a young player who has done the work. I got a chance to talk with him this morning, and I'll have a piece coming out later this week on him. But he spent the summer here in Nashville. He decided, I want to be here. I want to train. I want to be around these veteran players. Put in a ton of work on the ice, also put in a ton of work off the ice, worked with a mental coach as well, really wanting to take the next step. He had 6 games at the end of last season, and that gave him a taste of what it's going to take to be successful. And now we're seeing some of that start to pay off. It is a very exciting thing to see Matthew Wood's game take off. He feels very confident. I think that he feels like he's where he belongs. And to see him get those goals has been great. He's also one of the players that does not seem afraid to shoot the puck. This has been a season where, you sit back and you try not to yell, shoot the puck, but you really want to yell, shoot the puck. Matthew Wood is not afraid to shoot the puck. So that has been a very bright spot for the Predators recently.
And I would imagine too, more often than not, kind of playing in a third line type situation, or certainly a backup kind of line option. It seems like those are the type of performances that maybe could inspire, not necessarily that guys like Forsberg or O'Reilly need that, but it feels like, hey, everybody else is capable of pitching into that. It takes a little pressure off those guys up front, if nothing else, it seems like to me.
Absolutely. When you see a young player like that chip in, it does take the pressure off of the players that are supposed to be carrying the team. Mm-hmm. But the other thing I will say, the veterans have said they love it when you get a young player coming in. They love games where it is a rookie's first game. They love games where a rookie scores, because that energizes them. They, they've said before, it takes me back to my first game, takes me back to my first goal. So the young players performing well, it does give a boost to some of these veterans.
And Kimmel with Penalty Box Radio joining us here on Main Street Sports today. And, when it was 3-0 early on Saturday, I was thinking, and I might have even tweeted it, how bad is Calgary? I mean, was that a factor in this on Saturday as well? And if so, how does that bode for the Preds tonight against Vancouver?
Yeah, I do think you have to take into account that Calgary right now is a team that is really struggling. Nashville was able to chase a goaltender from Calgary in the first period, and that certainly has not been Nashville's game this season. So I do think that you have to weigh that this was maybe not the most competitive Flames team. The other side of that coin is it helped break a losing streak for Nashville. And at this point, the mental boost you get from a win, you'll take it from wherever you get it. But it is going to be a little bit different. Nashville has 5 games remaining until they head to Sweden for the Global Series. And these are games that are important. They, like you mentioned, Vancouver tonight, tomorrow night, Minnesota. These are teams that Nashville really needs to get wins against. They need the points, but they also just need the confidence. They need to be able to string together wins. These are some teams that are going to give Nashville a little bit of trouble if they're not careful.
And real quick, you mentioned Vancouver. Did I see Quinn Hughes is back tonight, which is exciting to watch, one of the greats, in the league, but it's also bad, obviously, because he's going against your team.
Absolutely. This is one of those times you never want a player to be injured, but if they are injured, they could be injured one more game.
It wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, right?
That's right. Now, I also agree with you. Watching Quinn Hughes play is really exceptional. You do know that you are watching somebody who is going to be a long-term impact player in this league. So, if you are not a fan of the Nashville Predators and you are a hockey fan, you're going to love seeing Quinn Hughes back. But Quinn Hughes is going to really challenge Nashville. That is probably going to be their biggest task tonight, is going to be containing him offensively and trying to get anything past him defensively.
That said, and is he the biggest challenge, or what is the key to, stringing together back-to-back wins for the Preds?
Yeah, I think tonight against Vancouver, this is just going to be a gutsy game. These two teams have met up before. It was a 2-1 win for Nashville, but these are teams that are very physical, very scrappy. They each have some things going for them. Each of these teams also have some things that they're trying to work through at the start of this season. I think Nashville needs to come out. They need to get on top right away. And again, Andrew Brunette today said this is one of those games that has to be 60 minutes. So I think that that's going to be key. Then they hop on the plane tonight after we're done with media, and they fly right to Minnesota. And Minnesota, this is an interesting team. You pay a guy $17 million, and while Kirill Kaprizov is doing just fine, you kind of think that the team is going to be doing well. Minnesota has kind of struggled early in the season. So these are games where Nashville could win. But again, it comes down to playing 60 minutes. It comes down to good goaltending. I assume we're going to see Saros tonight, Justus Annunen in net tomorrow night. So this is going to be a challenge to get these 2 wins, but I think it's so important for the Preds to string a couple of them together.
And then you come back to Bridgestone Thursday against Philadelphia, and then again on Saturday against Dallas. So interesting portion of the schedule, feels like, with that home and away on back-to-back nights, and then coming back for another four games this week.
Yeah, these players have really been taxed. The season in general is compressed because of the Olympics, but Nashville's beginning of the season is also slightly more compressed because they have the travel time to get to Sweden for the Global Series. And I would have to check this, but I think they played like 12 games in 26 days. I mean, this is really a grind already to start the season. So part of this is the mental game too. Part of this is being able to, whatever happens tonight, you got to turn that page, get on that plane, and get a win in Minnesota as well. So there's a lot weighing on this team. I think the struggle to find success individually and collectively, I think the struggle to string together the wins that they want to get, and I think they're tired. So I think it'll be great to get some wins, get some energy from that, and be able to get on the plane to go to Sweden with maybe a string of wins.
And we gave you or talked about some positives earlier. Real quick on some negatives. Update us on some injuries. We obviously saw the Yossi injured reserve news, but looks like Cole Smith is dinged up as well. Any other kind of bumps and bruises as the team tries to get wins, but also tries to stay healthy?
Yeah, Adam Wilsby is listed as day-to-day. He has been out of the lineup for a couple of days. I don't believe he was on the ice this morning, so he may be out tonight as well. Cole Smith, this is going to be a big loss. He's predicted to be out. He's week to week with an upper body. Cole Smith has been very, very good on that fourth line with Michael McCarron. He is also such a key component of the Predators' penalty kill, which has been one of the best in the league so far this season. It's really been a bright spot. So to see Cole Smith out of the lineup week to week, that's a little bit of a tough one. They're going to have some guys come in and step up, especially on special teams on the kill.
Anybody in particular that you'd like to see maybe say, hey, okay, in Smith's absence, I can be the guy to fill that role?
I am here for Ozzy Weisblatt. Ozzy Weisblatt has been playing on that line with Michael McCarron and with Cole Smith. He's gotten some time on the penalty kill, but this is a very young, fiery, very sneakily offensively talented young guy that you just want to root for. And while I think it's tough to see Cole Smith out, especially at 5-on-5, look for Ozzy Weisblatt to be a guy who steps up and maybe fills the gap for the Predators in his absence.
You know, Ann, I don't know that we've necessarily talked to you since this came down, or if we did, we've not talked about it. Brady Martin got sent out not long ago. What were the thoughts and comments as he went down? And sounds like he had a hell of a goal here recently.
Yeah, Brady Martin's been fabulous. He went back to the Sioux Greyhounds at the OHL and absolutely lighting it up. He had a play in a game last night, a between the legs goal, which is just, you know, I tweeted it out. It looked like a Philip Forsberg Jr. move. It was just absolutely beautiful hockey. It was, I think it was a great experience for Brady Martin. I think he probably gained a lot from traveling with the team, being around the veterans some more, kind of getting a feel for the level of preparation and care that goes into being an athlete at the NHL level. I thought that he looked pretty good in the games that he played, but I do think it's good for him to get back, get some more experience in the OHL. And it seems like he has taken the opportunity in the OHL and really elevated his game. Like you said, he's been very, very good since he got back. And this is a player I think Preds fans need to get excited about. While we won't see him again probably this season, this is a player that's going to be a big piece, I think, for the franchise on ice, but I also think too off the ice in the locker room. He has future captain potential.
Now, he couldn't go to Milwaukee this year, and so he's back in juniors. How do those restrictions work for him going forward? I mean, obviously 26, 27, maybe he's here. If he's not here, are the Admirals an option at that point, or how does that work?
Yeah, so he was not eligible to go to Milwaukee this year based on his age.
Mhm.
But when next season, when he comes up, there'll also be a new collective bargaining agreement where a team can say, hey, we have one underage player that we want to pull and put on our AHL team. But Brady Martin will be old enough to be with the Admirals next season. So I expect that he will be in the AHL. I expect he would be a player next season if all continues on this trajectory, who could be called up into the NHL next season as well. So this season we'll have to watch him in juniors, but next season I think he'll be in the AHL and we'll see him around Nashville.
And when you got a guy like that who's already obviously gotten a taste at the biggest level, what are the Preds themselves looking at for him the rest of the season? Just, hey, keep doing what you're doing, or do they have kind of some specific directions or things they're keeping eyes on in your mind?
I am certain that when they made the decision and had the conversation with Brady Martin, like, hey, we've loved having you here, we're going to send you back to the OHL. I am certain that he went back with a list of, here are the things that we want you to continue developing, whether that be, you know, strength training, which is something that Brady Martin had said to, you know, he said in Juniors, you're playing against
Mhm.
people your age. In the NHL, you are playing grown men. And so for him, he said, I'm going to go back. I'm going to work on my strength work. But I think Nashville probably sent him back with a list of, here are a couple things we want you to really be working on in juniors. And this is a player who is very driven and very confident and who will embrace the instruction and really do that. So expect to see an even more improved Brady Martin next training camp. I really do think we're going to see more steps in his development at the end of this season.
And Kimmel from Penalty Box Radio joining us here on Main Street Sports today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. As always, Ann, we appreciate you taking some time with us. Always great checking in, and look forward to catching up with you again soon.
That sounds great. Great to see you guys.
You as well. Thanks. Let's take a break here on Main Street Sports today. Come back and talk a little college football as we get into the weekend wrap-up portion of the weekend wrap-up. Stick around.
The winning just got closer. All new Sportsbook, the latest gaming machines, live horse racing, and more. The Mid Gaming Hall, Kentucky Downs.
Winning just got closer.
Being in Tennessee, we wanted to try to keep it as local as possible, so we have an entire section of our menu that is just dedicated to local whiskeys like Uncle Nearest, Jack Daniels, of course, George Dickel, Nelson Brothers, Greenbrier whiskey, and all of our taps are all local. From 2 o'clock until midnight, we've got food every day for you guys. A good handful of appetizers, some entrees, and a couple salads and things like that. My name is Ethan Kanana. Please come down and see us at the Pick Lobby Bar here at the Omni in Nashville.
There's a line that links us all. Most of the time, we don't even think about it, but it's everywhere. Illuminating our neighborhoods, empowering our businesses, and helping us to recharge. Whether it comes from our grids, the sun, or a kind heart, we believe in the power of good energy. And as your family and region continue to grow, you can trust that we'll always be there for you. Middle Tennessee Electric, bringing good energy.
It's the final segment of the weekend wrap-up edition of Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. So let's talk a little college football, because again, as we mentioned with the Titans, college football locally wasn't great this weekend either. Vanderbilt, as Wade mentioned, Vanderbilt covered, and it was a cover probably missed, including me, because I turned it off when it was 34-10.
And the SEC officials, depending on your interpretation of 2-point conversions and getting across the goal line, might have missed something for that cover as well there to help the Commodores out.
Every little bit helps, I guess. Yeah. But I mean, if you're a Commodores fan, obviously you're disappointed at the way things started for sure, and at the ultimate outcome. But 34-31, you did come storming back, even if you got a little help. I'm not sure. But 2, you're still 7-2. And I don't know that if you are a Vanderbilt football fan, you can look down at 7-2.
You cannot really. I hate to say that to Vanderbilt fans, but yeah, you're not in a position historically to really be upset with that. Playoff hopes, you would have been in with a win over the weekend. Probably on the outside looking in at this point going forward, barring something really crazy happening. But Vanderbilt, you are not really in a position to it's okay to be disappointed, but you certainly can't be that frustrated with where you're at right now.
No, and I mean, there's still plenty out there for this Commodore team. It feels like. Let me get the schedule in front of me real quick, because they finish up. They've got Auburn next week. More on them later. They've got Kentucky after an open date, and then they finish up at Knoxville. 10 wins, still out there.
still out there if you can bounce back. And I mean, Vanderbilt has, taken care of business in some games that historically they would not have. They flirted with danger a few different times. And so the trick is keeping yourself in a position to win games, whether that's close or if you take care of business early. Maintain the faith. We know Pavia and we know Clark Lee both are historically fighters and ultimate gamers. So that should be enough to make sure, we're not talking about them just throwing in the towel and really tanking the second half of the season. I don't think like we might see some teams do, but it's not exactly going to be an easy road for them if you want to land in a primetime bowl game at the end of the year.
You mentioned bouncing back. I mean, they lost that game at Alabama the opening weekend in October, and then they had an open date before they won back-to-back against LSU and Missouri. This time they got to come straight out of Austin into this game at home against Auburn. So the bounce back from a mental standpoint has to take place quickly, but obviously Auburn in some disarray. I don't know. I still feel like Vanderbilt's going to take care of business this weekend. I'm sure we'll talk more about that later in the week, but it's not a gutting loss. I mean, just in terms of where you would have been with a win makes it disappointing. And again, the start wasn't great. You were down 17-0? So not great, but I just feel like you got to be a little bit objective about this, and where Vanderbilt is still in a pretty dang good spot.
Yeah, for them especially, right? And years from now, there will be the answer to the trivia question: who was the team that Arch Manning played and got the second half of his career finally off and running? Because he looked good. He finally looked like the Arch Manning everybody expected. All it took was Vanderbilt rolling in for him to just magically snap out of things. So remember that moment going forward. The Saints were probably looking at some of that tape from this weekend, saying, maybe we hadn't given up on old Arch just yet. So. Going to be fascinating down the second half of the season. And to your original point, Vanderbilt, if they lose Saturday, we got big problems because they're a 7-point favorite versus Auburn coming into this game.
There we go. Man, Tennessee, we talked about it a little bit late last week. The knock on them was that they had not beaten a team with a winning record. Well, they still have not beaten a team with a winning record, losing at home to Oklahoma Saturday night, 33-27. Pretty safe to say Aguiar's worst game. Max Gilbert did no one any favors either, but just a tough performance all the way around for Tennessee offensively. Well, defensively too. They gave up 33 points.
Yeah, tough for the Vols. Number one, you gave up a lot of points to an Oklahoma offense that had really kind of been on life support, trying to find its way the last couple of weeks. But yes, you picked a bad time to play one of your worst games. But let's not forget, Oklahoma is one of the elite defenses in the SEC and therefore in the entire country. So a little bit of give, a little bit of take there. But Tennessee could not come up with it. Had a feeling Oklahoma didn't. I picked them on Friday to win that game and didn't necessarily think that they would look as dominant at times. I thought this would be a real squeaker down to the very, very end. And, if not for a late Mateer interception, Oklahoma's cruising in this game over the final 5 minutes and such. Oklahoma now, their conference schedule has just been talked about from the preseason onward. It is absolutely murderer's row. And if not for a loss or two already, they might come out of this thing unscathed. I don't know that they'll be able to navigate such tricky waters. They still got Alabama in 2 weeks to come up. But that was a must win for them. They survived the playoff elimination game and keep their hopes at least for one more week intact to the Sooners.
Tennessee, meanwhile, out of playoff consideration. You would think the first rankings come out tomorrow night, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you open this coming weekend. They've got New Mexico State minus Diego Pavia coming to Neyland the following week, and then go to Gainesville and again close at home against Vanderbilt. So if Tennessee's not careful, 3 losses for them.
Yeah, absolutely. And, that's the unfortunate thing for Vanderbilt and Tennessee is both of them lost, because if Vanderbilt was going to lose, you wanted Tennessee to win so you could at least keep some glimmer of a nice, shiny, quality win on your schedule. If you're Tennessee, you wanted Vanderbilt to win in case you lose. You could still have some quality win at the end of the season still kind of dangling out there. Both of them losing makes it a little less appealing. But yes, to your point, still got some meat left on that bone, as it were, with Tennessee's schedule to go.
Absolutely. We mentioned Auburn on a couple of occasions. Let's get into Hugh Freeze is out. What's that? The fifth Power 4 coach to get fired in as many weeks now, I think. It's an already crazy coaching carousel just got crazier with their loss to Kentucky on Saturday. So we talked about it late last week. It continues to be, conjecture. Do you want to get into this coaching search cycle? And I guess John Cohen and the folks down at Auburn decided, yeah, we have to. So
that is a concern, right? But I mean, the other concern is if you have another year, and Hugh Freeze, for all the magic that guy's had in his boots over the years, it just never quite clicked all the way at Auburn. And if it didn't click by now, it seemingly never was. If you bring him back, or if you are a coach or an AD that's thinking about bringing your coach back, and you have another bad season, we've seen that you fall further and further. The fall behind factor is exponentially larger these days than it is in years past. So it's a tricky bit of calculus to navigate if you're an administrator on a college campus right now. But yeah, plug pulled down there on the plains.
No doubt. And that follows in reverse order: LSU, Florida, Penn State, Arkansas, Oklahoma State, and then UCLA.
Stanford open technically still too.
Right. And UCLA and Virginia Tech got things started. So it's hard out here.
A lot of time to play golf now for Hugh Freeze, some are saying.
But is it any more than he was already playing?
You would think a little more time, and that's going to be the funny thing, right? I mean, immediately everybody's gravitating. The hottest names on the block for them are Jimbo Fisher and James Franklin, the most recent famous buyouts. So the question will become, why would I go coach for you guys when I could sit back and make millions not coaching?
And it's a heck of a question. It really is. I mean, why? Why? Especially at Auburn, where you've really got to fight uphill when you look at the 16-team Southeastern Conference, just how far up the chain is Auburn, and how far up the chain is Auburn just in terms of the jobs that are open in the league. So going to be an interesting coaching carousel here for sure. And what I think is going to be most intriguing is, when coaches start moving to fill some of these openings that currently exist, the second jobs, the domino effect of all this is what's going to really be intriguing to me, I think.
Yeah, we're not even on the carousel yet. We've just bought a ticket to the fair, right? The carousel is still approaching. We won't really get the merry-go-round kind of up and running for a little bit while longer. But go ahead and claim your seat, on your favorite horse right now. But we're not really going to turn on the power switch for another couple of weeks.
Handful of upsets over the weekend, Wade. I think we both had SMU covering against Miami. I don't know that we necessarily expected them to win it, but they did. 26-20. NC State knocking off Georgia Tech and expected candidate Brent Key for some of these openings. We talked a little bit about West Virginia and Houston. Well, Rich Rod and the Mountaineers figured it out. And, I don't know that Utah is an upset, but they were 24th and Cincinnati was 17th, and Utah got the win in pretty dominant fashion at home. But a couple of interesting top 25 outcomes over the weekend.
Yeah, Utes kept their faint playoff hopes alive. The Athletics current model has them at around a 20% chance. They walloped Cincinnati on Saturday, and Yeah, some you mentioned Miami and SMU. If you're Coach Cristobal, you're putting it in writing. We're never leaving the state of Florida. We will play every single game ever in the Sunshine State. 0-1 on the year after finally dipping out of the Eastern time zone there.
We talked about it during the rundown. Grizzlies fell to the Lakers 117-112 on Friday night, and it wasn't pretty after the game either. Apparently, Ja said some things that didn't go over well with the coaching staff and with the front office and got suspended for last night's game. And as it turns out, Memphis lost again, 117-104 at Toronto. So always interested in Memphis.
Yep. Not walking in Memphis, but walking from Memphis, perhaps from Ja, because it is not looking good. After the game saying, hey, go ask the coaching staff, go ask the coaching staff. I mean, he was bad. Something happened in that halftime, it felt like, because even in the second half, he looked different and things are not looking great. They got lit up like a Christmas tree in the second half by Luka and company in that loss on Friday. But then, making matters worse, conduct detrimental to the team. He's out for at least a game. So it is not looking good. And the question of the old trade machine will get cranked up sooner and later.
Yeah. And, obviously there was talk about that over the summer and that kind of thing, and it didn't materialize. And now I'm sure there will be those that are saying, see, should have moved him this summer. And how realistic is it? I mean, he is their best player, right?
I mean, you could argue him and Jaren on a night-to-night basis, take turns who the best player is. And I mean, Ja at his best can give you the goods, as Teresa told us on Friday. I mean, they're only going to go as far as he and Triple J can combine to carry them. Without one or without the other, they are severely limited in their current build. Give them a year or two, and that may totally look different. But right now, they need those two kind of carrying the weight, especially without Edie and especially without Brandon Clark as the other backup big there. So it is not good. You need every single piece of the puzzle, similar to the pro football team here in Nashville. You need everything lining up just right for you to take care of business on a day-to-day basis. And right now, it is not lining up. But this is the one league, right? I mean, they will flip you. Assets are absolute king. And if you can flip that for any sort of asset, Memphis will do that. They have a bunch of goodies already in Memphis that are waiting to be developed. They got a bunch of goodies waiting to be drafted in the next couple of years. If they can stockpile that and continue to get better, I don't think anything's out of the table or out of the question here.
Would it be bold or would it be desperate to move Ja?
Well, I mean, think about this, right? I mean, if he says, hey, I'm not playing another game for the rest of the season for this coaching staff, then your hands are kind of tied at that point, are they not?
Yeah. If it comes to that,
or if the coaching staff say we're not playing him another game the rest of the season, your hands are kind of tied. So I mean,
you'd like to think that somebody's going to be mature enough that wouldn't be the case. I never really considered Ja just dropping an ultimatum.
I mean, I don't think we're there yet, but it sure sounds like it. I mean, he's pouting after the postgame saying, I don't know, go ask the coaching staff. The coaching staff, meanwhile, is holding their postgame press conference at the exact same time, mysteriously, that he's being interviewed in his locker room. So you weren't able to ask both sets of questions.
Well, you can't really go ask the coaching staff.
So the fact that that's going on, it is not good. And, you'd like to be optimistic. You'd like for things to work out. This is the bump in the road that's always been there with Ja in Memphis. Is you got a lot of good, you got some bad. You got a lot of good, you got some bad, and you kind of just ride this roller coaster. And right now we're in one of those downswings of the roller coaster.
Speaking of riding, Ryan Blaney gets the win at Phoenix over the weekend in the championship 4, and so as a result, Kyle Larson, who finished third in the race, wins the Cup Series championship. So his second. I still don't quite understand all of this. I guess it came back to points, but Blaney was in the Final Four, right? Or was he not? Let's see. I can't keep up.
I just do a good job of pretending every time we bring this up on the show. So you caught me in one of my moments of weakness here.
I'm sorry. I got you. in a vulnerable spot. Yeah, but Kyle Larson wins the championship, followed by Hamlin, Briscoe, and Byron. Um, your top four going into the championship four. No, I'm sorry. Blaney was not in the top four. It was Larson, Hamlin, Briscoe, and Byron were your top four. So by Blaney winning it, then I guess it went down to points. And again, Kyle Larson wins the championship. So congrats to him. The longest professional season in sports has come to an end, Wade.
Best driver,
I'm sure
Game
Heather's-
7 of the World's. We got Game 7 of a World Series. They go right up with NASCAR, just toe to toe there in terms of that link there. Now it's up to the PGA. The shortest little off season. We'll get NASCAR. We'll get about 40 winks in, and then we'll be revved up. And Heather will be talking about the start of a new season. There will be some drama and some subplots that come along the way. Really hoping, for Suarez at like 150 to 1 to come across and win that thing weekend.
How did he do? Trying to pull up results here. Not those. I'm not sure how Suarez came out, but like you said, it would have been nice if he could have come up with one.
19th
Again, going
according
out
to the
the
site I
door.
found here. Yeah.
19th. Yeah, that's
not first.
That's a little disappointing. No,
Yeah.
not first. That's tough. Okay. All right. Wow. Monday Night Football again. We've got Arizona and Dallas tonight. Hockey, we've got Vancouver at Bridgestone tonight. So a lot to pay attention to here tonight, even as baseball is over with.
Yeah, got 7 games behind us of the World Series, and we'll be cranked up. Everything shifts indoors. It got cool on us in a hurry here, and so we get inside. Looking forward to seeing what the Preds maybe can do. Looking forward to see if the Grizzlies can maybe somehow right the ship a little bit. But yes, definitely looking forward to a big slate of college basketball games. I'm excited to watch BYU a little bit later tonight, but I mentioned that Florida Arizona game should be a lot of fun coming up here in a couple hours.
Where is that?
Hopefully not on an aircraft carrier.
Yeah, that wouldn't be good, I don't think. Did we mention that the Grizzlies are at home against Detroit tonight?
Yep, got Cade Cunningham and
I'm
the
sure
crew
we did
coming
in the rundown.
Yep, Cade Cunningham and the crew coming in. They have kind of underachieved a little bit too, but Memphis, the bad part with the Grizz is as kind of mediocre as they will likely end up being. Mediocre in the West is not good. If they were mediocre in the East, they might be in contention to win the Eastern Conference Finals. But unfortunately, they play in the West, and that will maybe only be good enough to let them sniff the playoffs. So should be a fun night, and hopefully bounce back after a couple gross results here.
Yeah. We mentioned Middle Tennessee State's women opened the season earlier today with a 59-53 win over Tennessee State. Vanderbilt defeated Cal 74-65. Michaela Blake's 27 points. Surprise, surprise.
Hopefully no jewels were stolen during the course of that game as well.
Oh, goodness. That's going to do it for the weekend wrap-up edition of Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. Come back tomorrow at 2 o'clock. We'll be Wade and Calvin. All right.
David and Calvin.
David and Calvin. David and Calvin tomorrow, 2 o'clock. Check them out. We'll talk to y'all soon.